All right, guys, Obama tag teams Newsom to try to checkmate Trump. Now, do you guys feel that? You feel that earthquake? No, not the tectonic kind. I'm talking about the one rattling through the White House walls right now because Obama just stepped back in the ring. All right, guys, let's talk about it and dive right in. Okay, guys, welcome back to the baseline. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope you guys are having a great day. Now, what's going on now? Gavin Newsom, he's throwing social media haymakers. And Donald Trump, he's doing what Donald Trump does best, spiraling into a full-on caps lock Twitter-style meltdown. Now, this isn't just politics as usual. This is chess, street ball, reality TV, all rolled into one. And Obama, who's been sitting quietly in the bleachers for years, is suddenly out of nowhere tag teaming with Newsom to fight Trump on the one battlefield that matters, which is the map. Now, before you say maps, like that's kind of boring, but try to understand this, guys. The line on those maps decide who runs Congress, who writes the laws, and who controls the narrative going into 2026 and beyond. Now, what's the twist here? Well, Trump's playbook isn't working anymore. And that is where things get dangerous. Now, this isn't just about Republicans versus Democrats, right? And to be honest with you guys, I'm not a part of any team. Both of these guys seem to be the heads of the same beast. But what it does seem to be about is power, right? And the power to decide if this country is going to look like an inclusive democracy or a playground for billionaires who thinks tax laws are optional and accountability is a myth. Now, I think both parties probably placate to the second, but I digress. So, will this hit your wallet? It always does, right? Every manipulated district, every suppressed vote, every oops, we lost the ballot box moment, it trickles down to your paycheck, your healthcare, and your cost of living. Which brings us to three big questions that we got to ask right now. One is, why did Obama pick this exact moment to re-enter the fight? Two, how far is Newsom willing to go to throw Trump off his game? And three, the one that keeps me up at night is, what happens when someone with a mob boss mentality like Trump realizes that losing control is not an option for him? So let's paint the picture. Trump's in full meltdown. He's rage posting at 3 a.m. and desperately trying to convince his followers that only he can fix things. Now, Fox News is scrambling to fill the airtime saying things like, Gavin needs to be authentic. And it's like, authentic? Well, your guy invented the late night Twitter rant. This is like saying Nickelback should be more rock and roll. It's a little silly, but here's the breakdown of things, though. Obama's at a fundraiser for the National Democratic Redistricting Committee, basically called the GOP out for what they are, a party that's systematically trying to choke the life out of democracy. Now, he didn't mince words. He didn't need to, really. He said, if we don't respond effectively, this White House and Republican-controlled states won't stop because they don't believe in an inclusive, expansive democracy. Now, here's where you have to ask yourself, is he right or wrong? I leave that up to you guys. But if you look at the streets of DC right now, they are militarized, lots of surveillance, and a culture of fear that feels more like a Tom Clancy novel than a functioning democracy. Now, enters Gavin Newsom, right? Now, this guy is playing offense while everyone else is still trying to figure out the rules. Now, he's proposing a ballot measure to redraw California lines, a direct response to what Texas is doing with their mid-decade maps. Now, think of it as a counterpunch with precision timing. And here's where it gets spicy, right? Because Newsom is mocking Trump in public, on X, and in real time. I mean, the man literally called a Fox host, Yelp for toilets. It was somewhat savage, at least for Democrats who don't usually fight for anything. But Meanwhile, Fox News is pearl clutching like they just discovered profanity for the first time. Now, the story is this, right? Picture this. You're walking down the streets of Los Angeles. Inflation is still brutal. Your rent's up. Your grocery bill feels like a ransom note. And what do you see? ICE agents showing up at Newsom events. Trump flexing federal power like it's a toy he doesn't know how to really use. And here's the kicker to all this stuff. While all of this chaos unfolds, the economy is somewhat on life support. Walmart is raising prices thanks to these tariffs. John Deere is announcing layoffs. Pepsi is hiking up soda prices. And Sony, they just added $50 to every PlayStation, which kills me. But here, it's like every part of your life is more expensive because one guy thinks tariff policy is a game of Monopoly. It's insane. Meanwhile, mainstream media is chasing clicks instead of context. And headlines scream, tariff tensions, but nobody's explaining how this all connects to the power struggle in DC. And how, once again, we're all the ones footing this bill. And here's where it really gets insane, right? Because Trump's bragging to foreign leaders about running in 2028, even as his approval ratings tank. He's deploying National Guard units to DC, ICE agents to California, and hitting at executive moves that sound less like policy and more like, a wannabe strongman testing his boundaries, right? So it's a question whether or not Trump is going to want to leave or ever going to leave, But this isn't just about politics anymore. This is about power without limits. And yet, through all of this, the Democrats, for the first time in a long time, look like they found a spine, which is shocking. Now, Obama stepping up is good. Newsom trolling with surgical precision, that's good. The GOP losing control of the narrative, you can feel that. And you can feel this shift, this tension. It's like a storm building on the horizon. Build to the cliff, and here comes the truth about it all, right? Because this fight isn't just about 2026. It's about setting the table for 2028. Because if you think Trump is acting unhinged right now, imagine what happens when he realizes he's not just losing control, he's losing relevance. The man thrives on a certain amount of chaos. And when chaos doesn't work, that's when things can potentially get dangerous. Now, this is a point where the story stops being a headline and becomes a moment in history. Now, another part that nobody's really saying out loud is what happens next does not shape the next election. It actually shapes the next decade. The fight for the map is the fight for power. And if you think this ends in 2026, I think we all have to start paying attention, right? Because the twist that's coming, it's bigger, it's faster, and it's already in motion. So stay tuned, guys, because the next move is going to change everything. And we're going to keep following this little by little, episode by episode. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me on The Baseline. Let me know if you think I got this right or wrong or if I'm way off. Put your comment in the section below. I read them all, I answer them all, and would love to hear from you. All right, guys. Cheers.